What's good, Hoop fans? It's Tyler Rucker of No Ceilings. Tape time's back. We're bringing it back from the dead, from the grave, if you want to put it that way. This has been a basketball breakdown, a film session that I've been doing over the last couple years that, I had to put on pause last year while we get that draft guide going out. So I promised I was going to be doing a lot more projects on YouTube. Here we are. First, we're going to talk about VJ Edgecombe, third overall pick out of Baylor. Really impressive in his summer league debut. I'm going to try to do these tape time breakdowns of each specific game. Maybe we get a couple in a row. I'll break down multiple, but a lot of good stuff from VJ. Had one of those eye-opening debuts that everyone's been buzzing about. We're going to break down the tape, talk a little bit about it, some good things, what we could kind of watch to improve with VJ. But man, Sixers fans should be very excited. Hit the music. All right, VJ Edgecombe had a fantastic first game. Looked awesome at Summer League, and I want to talk about kind of what we should expect moving forward, some things to look at it, and break down this game and why VJ at the NBA level could be just such a monster. So let's get into it. This first play for VJ, I thought, was a good tone setter for the whole entire game. At Baylor, you saw VJ have some flashes when it came to kind of, this pick and roll. Like, hey, we didn't see too much of him on the ball until the second half of the season, but right away we get a little action up top, and I thought it was just nice to see VJ be able to react, make a play for a teammate. You get a simple pick and pop with Janiah Broome, second-round pick from Auburn, and that's how you get the confidence going. That's how you get some good stuff going right away for your third overall pick. We're going to get another action here with VJ running. And this is something that, I love to do these tape time breakdowns. We've done a couple of them in the past. This year, we want to really, really bring them back, especially with Summer League. But this is some stuff. We want to balance the good and the bad because we want to say, hey, what are we looking for to kind of improve? So we're getting a little bit of a high action here. Turns into being a little bit of a disaster. But then VJ's going to come up, get a pass from a dump off from a Dembona. Finishing with VJ. It is the big thing to watch out for moving forward. Now, you're probably saying, if you haven't watched Edgecombe a lot, you're like, hey, one of the best athletes in this draft. He's a freak of nature when attacking the basket, but how could he be a bad finisher? It's not just the athleticism, it's just the creativity. Now, VJ, I love already seeing the mentality of making that next leap to the NBA. He's physical, he's a lot bigger than you think from watching on tape. I like how he goes right at Filipowski here. Try to send a message, like I'm the third overall pick, I'm sending it. But this is where we got to get creative. Now, this is just a tough contested play by Filipowski, but VJ's just got to get this down, and we'll put this right now as like, hey, that's a tough finish. Didn't get it to go. All right, we'll learn from that. But you're going to see as we keep going on, there's more instances where VJ's just got to figure out that. I wanted to put some defensive sequences too, just because VJ's had this reputation, and it's well-deserved, when it comes to his defensive ability on the ball. Now, we're getting VJ out here on Ace Bailey. That's a big size difference. Here we get VJ. He's doing a good job staying on Ace's hip. I think it's great defense to start out, especially with the difference. You see where VJ's locating the ball. He's attacking it. This is just great stuff. Makes it as tough as possible. Eventually, we're going to get a battle for VJ with his size around 6'5", and two giants, Ace Bailey and Filipowski, and he battles. You tip your hat. I think that's a great start, though, for the defensive side of the ball. Sixers fans, you're going to be very excited with him defensively. He's a madman on the ball. Following sequence, I always like to see that next play up. Like, what's that next mentality? Like, what do you do? So right after that tough one, you see a lot of players that might get a little down in the dumps about like, oh man, I gave up a bucket. I'm a rookie. I'm pissed. No, VJ's next play up mentality. Get a great drive here, patient, understands what's going on. You see the athleticism. You see, like, this is where you're getting creative. That's the good stuff with the finishing. Nice touch. One of the things I want to see develop with VJ, and it should come, it's something he should lean on, is he's got a good little mid-range game, and with that athleticism and that threat to get to it always, I think he's got a real possibility for this to be just like a specific weapon. A lot of Anthony Edwards flashes. You could throw out a couple of guards that will get people obviously excited with the pro comps, but I just like this mentality, good balance here. good recognition of like, hey, Walter Clayton and Filipowski are kind of him. He doesn't have that angle really on that dump off, especially with Cody Williams back here trying to collapse. So VJ's just going to take what the defense gives him. Nice baseline, composed, nothing but net. Love to see it. This one ends up as just a foul, but I really like this. You know, we're getting VJ kind of in a post-up ISO situation. Little chaos there. Recovers. That's beautiful. You like to see this, and this is something when you're evaluating VJ last year as a prospect, you didn't see a ton of until, you know, they had a couple injuries and VJ had to get a little bit more on-ball reps and carry the load in the backcourt, and then you start to see the playmaking flashes. There's a lot more than you might think at first, and there's some really impressive stuff. That's why I'm excited about him at the next level. I mean, we saw this at the Bahamas. People watch that tape and go, holy crap, look at this guy. But I love this from VJ is just, okay, let me see what we got. Nothing. Cody Williams gets a nice little tip here, and then VJ's like, okay, let's calm down. Let's just reevaluate here. We got plenty of time. Works, drive. You know, Clayton gets reaching. Don't reach, Youngblood. And then you can either go up strong here for a little floater, but he sees Filipowski, and that's a beautiful wraparound in a tight window. Janiyah Broome is going to the line. All right, the defense, I hinted about it earlier, we get a flash of it right away with VJ. He's an on-ball demon, very active hands. I like to say he's kind of like a viper out there. Like he can just attack out of nowhere and make your life difficult. So this is Walter Clayton, you know, one of the Jazz's first-round picks, NCAA champion, someone that could pull it from about anywhere. We like to see this with young players. Like, hey, how can you get around screens, your screen navigation? What's that looking like? And I think VJ does a good job of being able to cover ground in a hurry. It's his lower, you know, center of gravity. It's his balance. It's his footwork. It's giving a shit. Excuse my language. You like to see the anticipation, the feel here. VJ anticipates, comes up here. Walter's going to pull up, and that's right when VJ starts like, okay, he's committing. Get a hand up. That's a great play right there. Now everyone wants to see the athleticism, and we got a full teaser of it. VJ in transition. Look out. This is where you really get excited about Edgecombe, because it's one thing to have this explosiveness, this athleticism. It's another thing to understand when to turn on the turbojets and how to set up defenders doing it. So we get VJ in transition here. Walter Clayton's, you know, on an island. He's the last man resort. Doesn't look like he has anywhere to go, really, for creating for a teammate, because Cody Williams is kind of right on the hips here. So VJ's just going to hit him with a simple cross. You want to put it that way? That's just a nice gather. And, I mean, that's all you need, because he can get going in a hurry. And you really see when VJ wants to put on these burners, he finds another couple gears that you're not ready for, and it's just liftoff. It's a party now. All right, we're back to the driving stuff. You know, we see a lot of good stuff. You want VJ to be aggressive, but there's also a time in which you've got to understand how, you got to learn as a young guard in the NBA. You got to learn how to create off the drive. You got to learn how to draw contact. You got to learn how to build some real estate at the line. VJ just had a nice dunk in transition. He's feeling good. He's loving it. But this is where you got to be like, okay, now how my explosiveness, my athleticism, guys are catching up on that curve. How can I also create other opportunities? So, like, I still like this drive. I think it's tough. I have no problems with it. I think this is just something like he's going to have to learn from. It's like, okay, sometimes you're going to have to just, you give it all you got here on these drives, and you're going to have to learn with the result, because guys are familiar with this. They're understanding that, hey, athletes that want to come dunk on us, we're ready for it. So there's not a lot of places for him to go with this. Driving into Bryce Sensabaugh and Cody Williams, they're kind of all over, but I like the mentality, and okay, next play up. And speaking of next play up, here's the exact next play. This is what I love. We talked about that next play mentality, so I wanted to see, okay, you just drove, you got blocked at the hoop. What do you have for us now? What? So we're running a set, a little high pick and roll, kick to VJ, splash. I mean, you just love that. All right, I get blocked. Now let me get that next play. VJ hits that three. We come back on defense. Defensive rebound, drive, finish. Now, I'm not trying to be a hater with all this, but I'm just pointing out some stuff for Sixers fans, basketball fans, just to look at, because also we need to be realistic. This is the first summer league game. For a lot of these rookies, This is the first time they've played live action basketball for 3 or 4 months with the media circus of going through the pre-draft, working out for teams. So like we always need to be kind of a little weathered when it comes to what we're expecting from these guys. But I thought this was just a good moment of like, okay, VJ, we just saw him have some success in transition on a big slam. We saw him drive the lane and kind of get stopped by 2 guys. Now we want to see it again. And this is just the finishing part of his game. I think if he can unlock this and figure it out and slow things down, then we've got a real monster on our hands. VJ's driving transition doesn't really have any options here when it comes to driving kicks. It's covered pretty well, so he's just going to say, all right, let me try to get something going. I think in this opportunity, you'd like to see a veteran bring it out, slow it down. Let's get a good look. But this is just the type of player VJ is. So driving at the trees, he's trying to create a little contact on the big, doesn't get a lot, and then we just get a little bit of a wild shot here, and it's all right, but we learn from it. We call those, those are film review stuff, just like what we're doing. We're going to get another one here. So we're going to get another finishing. A beautiful cross. Where are you going? This is something with a lot of young guys, especially with serious bounce, you're going to see often. So we're coming down, and VJ just puts a nasty little cross, simple but nasty, on Cody. That's the explosiveness you love to see right away. My big thing when looking at these young guys is once you create that first look, what do you do now? Like what happens now? So you've either got to have a jump stop floater here. You've got to try to create this for Bona, but I think you could even argue maybe Cody gets his hand in here and it's just all over the place. To be honest, this was the end of the half. If you watch these 4 straight possessions to end the half, it was sloppy. You could tell the guys on both teams were exhausted. They were probably just looking like, hey, we're breathing heavy right now. Let's just get to the end of the half and go for it. So that's why I'm not catching too much. But this is just a learning experience, I think, for VJ of like, all right, let's try to create here. Let's try to be balanced, under control, because this is going to happen a lot. Yes, you're going to get by your first guy, but where are you doing next? What's your next move here? So we get to the second half. And we're starting now to get a little bit of, okay, we got the first half out of our way, and I think you start to see VJ really blossom in this second half. I love this drive because it's simple, but it's going to create a lot more looks later, and we're going to talk about that, obviously, but just a nice, patient, okay, let's let this play develop. We get a high pick and roll with Broom, who's going to roll here. Takes Bryce Sensible off the bounce. I love the balance here to stop, and let's just make it simple. Nice little pull up. Good. Like I just said, on that play, we're starting to create stuff now. Now we're starting to see things click, get a little bit slower. So we get VJ coming here off another high action with this pick and roll with Bona. He's going to do a great job of, okay, let's create this using the screener. I like that he reads the floor nicely here and doesn't panic. Just creates his window. That's all VJ needs, and that's nothing. That's going to be there all the time. That could be VJ's bread and butter if he wants it. I'm nitpicking here, but this is something I just with guys. I like defense. Talk about it all the time on the No Ceilings Pod with my co-host Tyler Metcalf. Something I'm just nitpicking because VJ's defensively is such a special talent. He's so good. But this one I just caught my eye and I was like, I would not be doing honest work if I didn't include this. We just get a little over anxious on this closeout here. Bryce Sensible, third year in the league. He's looking like a guy that could have a much better jump this year for Utah. I think VJ just gets a little over anxious here, and that's fine. Just close out, understanding that these guys are going to be able to blow by you. So I think he gets a little anxious here, a little reach. Luckily, Bona's there to help him out. Doesn't get called a foul, so it's all right. We're learning. Now, we saw a couple, pull-ups in the mid-range where I thought VJ was getting going, and then there's a couple here that I was like, okay, VJ's a little indecisive, and maybe that's the finishing issues we saw earlier. Maybe that's just, I'm this open, what's going on? So wanted to kind of highlight these, but I don't have a problem with this shot. It kind of caught my attention at first of like, hey, you're this bad man with crazy verticality. Should you be getting downhill and trying to finish with some aggressiveness? But I also don't mind if you hit a couple mid-range shots and you're just like, you're going to give me this? All right, I'll take it. So we take it. no good. I'm fine with that. I wanted to highlight that because we get to this play. Pretty much the following sequence. VJ, again, coming off of a nice little high pick and roll. Bona basically crushes the defender on this screen. And I think there's just some indecisiveness here from VJ. Like, okay, well, I hit 2. I missed 1. Am I trying to create this for Bona, for the dump off? Am I trying to make the defense react to me? I think, again, I'm being picky. This is what we do. But you'd like to see some confidence, just pull it. But I think he tries to get Bona away from him, tries to see if the defender will bite to give him a little easy dump off, and we end up just kind of taking a last-second mid-range. No good. Again, there's a lot of highs from VJ in this game, so I'm trying to balance everything here to be. Okay, now we're starting to get into some fun stuff. This is where VJ starts getting in a real roll. So we get this little handoff from Janiyah Broome for a mid-range pull-up. Very smooth. Looked beautiful. I like the pre-handoff stuff was just as impressive. So VJ's trying to create some separation here, gets his defender leaning another way. Love how he takes his handoff with minimal spacing for the defender to get through. He's smothered right now, and we love ball fakes. We absolutely love it. So we get VJ with a shot fake. Defender flies by, balanced, under control. Nothing but net. That's an NBA move right there. Doesn't need to be advanced and wild. Just needs to be simple, understand what's going on, read the floor. Then we get this. This is beautiful. You've hit a couple shots. Defense is definitely starting to react to you. VJ, gorgeous driving kick to Janiyah. So that's what I mean. Like you missed. I like to see the confidence, the assertiveness, and this one was clear. VJ on the drive. Look at the defense is already all just locked in on him, and I love getting to that last possible spot to create. Because VJ doesn't give this pass up too early, you see the defense, he just is making everyone commit to their positioning and what they're going to do as much as possible. So he drives as deep as he can into the lane on this one. Good jump stop. Ace Bailey's up here. He's got to make a decision. Do I follow Justin Edwards? Do I go to Broome? So Bailey goes up to Edwards, and then VJ just has a gorgeous, he knows, hey, Filipowski's not recovering all over here, so he gets Broome with a beautiful kick out. You better be making that. So I love that play. Now we're starting to see the playmaking come alive. We're starting to see the scoring gravity creates playmaking. A young player that understands that can really do some damage in this league. And this was one of my favorite plays of this whole game. So Bona's coming out here. We're going to do a little 2-man game with VJ. We end up switching it from Utah. Bailey's going to take Bona. Filipowski. So VJ's just trying to create. Okay, let me see if I can create something from Filipowski. He looks right away. Looks like he's looking at Hood Schifino cutting, but there's just not a lot of real estate to try to create that window. Smart decision. Some young players would try to force that. And this is where it's great, because after this action where Hood Schifino's cutting through, Bailey's going to realize, okay, I've got to take one of these two guys. So he's going to decide to go with Hood Schifino. And because VJ's patient, this lets this dump off create a beautiful, easy 2 for Bona. Love that. Now, the finishing stuff from the first half that we were kind of talking about, now we're seeing, okay, things are slowing it down for a little bit. This is what we want to see with the confidence and assertiveness. Now, obviously, VJ's coming down in transition. He sees Walter Clayton here, hitting him with a quick little, in and out, and that's all it needs. But you love to see, all right, assertive, confident. That's where the athleticism comes into play. That's good stuff. This is the type of sequence that you get really excited for, especially if you're a Sixers fan. Utah tries to run it down in transition. VJ with a nice block here. Okay, stay in the play. What's going on here? Drive, tough, and 1. This is just good stuff. This is good stuff from VJ. So great job of being patient here. You're going to be probably the most athletic guy in the court. So being patient here. Don't fall for the first ball fake. Good job. Tip. Stay in the play. We're coming down. Read the floor. Analyze. Edwards hits him for this dump off. And then you get the attack right away. Get downhill. Create the contact. Draws the N1. Going to the line. Big play in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes left. Yes, it's Summer League. I don't care. That's still nice stuff. All right, here we go. Gorgeous. One of my favorite ones the whole game. We've seen this play from VJ a couple times. This is what I love to see with young guys, especially early in Summer League. You've getting your, we call it the bread and butter, as we keep mentioning earlier. You're getting that. But now they're going to read it, so you kind of also have to be able to, hey, this is my go-to, this is where I'm getting, but let me adjust too. So another time we're getting a little bit of a clear out, but we're going to get a Bona high action pick and roll. VJ right away trying to set up Filipowski. Nice little in and out. Doesn't create much, but I like it. Just gets Filipowski shuffling the feet a little. You're attacking. Show him the ball. He reads Filipowski kind of. That's why we don't cross the feet, folks. Filipowski crosses his feet, starts going the other way. VJ reads it, understands. Simple, beautiful, fade away. Big time shot. Less than a minute. Down 3. Now you're down 1. I like that.